This is the story of the birth of the seventh child that Kamsa missed. As you have seen in our previous episode, a prophecy had warned Kamsa that Devaki's eighth child would be his end. With this, Kamsa had imprisoned his own sister Devaki and her husband Vasudeva, and he watched and waited. 6 children were born and 6 children were taken. The first child, second, third, fourth, fifth, and the 6th child. All 6 children taken. Kamsa counted each one and smiled. The blood on his hands meant nothing to him. The 7th, he was certain, would be no different. But this is the story of how one child slipped through every calculation Kamsa had ever made. The hands that took 6 couldn't reach the 7th. To understand how, we must go back in time, to a kingdom that Kamsa never watched, to a union that Kamsa never paid attention to the kingdom of Balika, which is far to the northwest of Hastinapura, even further from Mathura. King Balika is the elder brother of King Shantanu of Hastinapura. Yes, this is the Kuru bloodline that we have been watching in our previous episodes. The same dynasty that gave the world Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidura. King Balika ruled his frontier kingdom with one code: silence, strength and no compromise. Just like his brother, Shantanu, King Shantanu of Hastinapura, the father of Bhishma. King Balika had 2 children, Somadatta, his hair, and Rohini, his quiet strength. Rohini grew up in her father's image, educated, fearless, composed, a princess who needed no introduction. And she was about to unite 2 of the greatest dynasties in Bharatvarsha. And what you're about to see is the untold story of the union of Rohini from the Kuru kingdom and Vasudeva from the Yadava kingdom. Across Bharatvarsha, in Mathura, King Surasena's son, Vasudeva is a man of iron truth. He stood for his values and principles. Before Devaki, Vasudeva was approached to wed Rohini, the daughter of Balika from Kuru dynasty. 2 old friends, 2 great kings, one alliance that would change everything. And Rohini wed Vasudeva in Mathura, with fire as witness, quietly, without fanfare, without prophecy, and without Kamsa ever knowing. Together they built a life in Mathura. Rohini gave Vasudeva 2 children, Sarana and Subhadra. For a time, life was complete, a home, a family, a future. But destiny had other plans. As you have seen in previous episode, Vasudeva's second marriage to Devaki changed everything. A prophecy, a wedding chariot, a brother's rage. And in one moment, the life Rohini had built in Mathura was over. Vasudeva knew what was coming. He met Rohini from behind the prison bars and told her to take Sarana and Subhadra and go to Gokul before Kamsa noticed. Rohini came to the prison one last time. He blessed her and the children. Rohini bowed her head and began her journey toward the Yamuna, toward Gokul, toward a life where Rohini and children will be safe. In Gokul lives Nanda, a simple cowherd, a man whose friendship needed no palace, no throne, no title, just open arms with his wife Yashoda. Rohini crossed the Yamuna with 2 children and 1 word of trust. On the other bank, Nanda was waiting, no questions asked, and inside Yashoda welcomed them home with Aarti and warm arms. In Gokul, a daughter of the Kuru dynasty found her shelter. But the story does not end there. Back in Mathura, behind the same prison walls, Devaki conceived again, the 7th child. Kamsa's guards watched every breath, every movement, every moment. The divine plan had already begun, long before Devaki knew she was carrying it. In the celestial world, Lord Vishnu summoned Yogamaya, his divine cosmic power, and instructed her to go to Gokul, find Rohini, and transfer the 7th child to her womb. Yogamaya entered Devaki's prison, and in the deep of midnight, silently, divinely, Yogamaya extracted the 7th child from Devaki's womb, and she disappeared. Devaki didn't even know that this happened. She crossed Yamuna and implanted the divine child in Rohini's womb as she slept peacefully in Gokul and Yogamaya disappeared. Rohini stirred in her sleep. Something ancient and divine has just arrived. And in the prison, Devaki woke to emptiness, her hands reaching for a child that was no longer there. Vasudeva held her in silence, carrying a secret as wide as the Yamuna itself. When Kamsa heard, he smiled. A miscarriage. The seventh child is gone on its own. He never suspected a thing. But across the Yamuna, in Gokul, Rohini was expecting. Rohini accepted the divine gift with pleasure and with duty. And in the warmth of Gokul, surrounded by Nanda and Yashoda, she delivered a boy. A boy that is strong, luminous, unusually calm, a child like any other. According to Bhagavatam, he is given 3 names that day. Garbha Sankarshanatam Vai Prahuha Sankarshanam Bhuvi. Because he is transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's, he will be known by the name Sankarshana. Rama iti loke Ramanat. Because he brings divine pleasure to all, he shall also be called as Rama. Balabhadra iti Balat. Because of his extraordinary physical strength, he shall be called Balabhadra. And Bhagavatam tells us that he was given these 3 names that day: Sankarshana, Rama and Balabhadra. Across all sacred texts, he is simply known as Balarama, the one who is both strength and joy. Years later, Balarama became the greatest mace warrior alive, and 2 of the Mahabharata's most powerful rivals, Duryodhana and Bhima, sat at his feet as students, learning the art of the strike and the discipline of the duel. When Kurukshetra came, Balarama chose peace over slaughter. He walked away on a long pilgrimage while his students tore the world apart with the very skills he had taught them. When he returned, the great war was over, but one final shadow remained: his 2 students standing face to face in a final mace duel to end the age. When Bhima struck Duryodhana below the waist, every law Balarama had ever taught was broken. His fury erupted and the plough rose. But Krishna, his own brother, gently guided his hand down. And Balarama, the strongest warrior on the earth, put his plough down in silence. The 7th child that Kamsa missed had become the silence that Kurukshetra never recovered from.